The Coach Curl podcast is brought to you by Think and Grow Business, the home of the Think and Grow Business Mastermind. If you're serious about growing your business, get serious and join a mastermind group today. Find out more at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au.
Hey there, it's Coach Curl here, and welcome to episode 130 of the Coach Curl podcast. Today we're exploring the link between purpose and motivation.
Way to go, guys. Way to go. Keep it going. Good job, guys. All right, Paul. I see you. All right, Trevor. Finish on. Coach Curl.
Hey there, it's Tony here, and welcome to episode 130 of the Coach Curl podcast. And today we're exploring the link between purpose and motivation. Just another one in our series of looking at some of the psychology in and around the concept of motivation. Because, and why are we doing this? So many people today are simply just not motivated. They're not motivated to better themselves. They're not motivated to have a crack at doing something that they'd like to do. They stay in jobs that they don't like. They stay with people they shouldn't be with. And generally they live a life of settlement, We've settled for the life that we have. And often we'll see them set big goals. We'll see them map their way through how to achieve that goal. We'll see these great plans, a lot of detail put into the plan, but they'll stay firmly rooted where they are. They're stuck on the spot. They're not going forward, and often even maybe they're going backwards. Now, what if I told you that figuring out what to do, making a plan of what to do, going through the processes of how to do it and when to do it, are not as important as what some people make it out to be. Understanding what to do is not as important as figuring out why we want to do it. And this is where we start to see the link between purpose and motivation. Now, don't get me wrong. Technically, we need to be good at what it is that we do. We need to have the skills to be able to work through and achieve a plan. So technical considerations are obviously very important. Learning how to do new things is obviously very important. After all, you do need to know how to do things for you to get better at them. Makes some sense, doesn't it? A little bit crucial for success. But just as importantly as these considerations may be, until and unless we can wrap our minds around why we want to do it, what is our purpose in doing it, we're just basically going to be spinning our wheels. And that's why so many people get caught up in this whole scenario of spinning their wheels. They have a dream, they have a goal, they have a vision, they follow the steps, they map out their plan, they put it on a wall, they create a vision board, they're doing everything that they're being told to do. But they still spin their wheels. Basically spinning our wheels and wasting our time. You know, most people live life wasting precious time on the small details as well. You know, they focus on maybe the one exam if they're in study and getting that done and then looking towards the next exam. But or they're looking at the detail in the minute. They pride themselves on being busy, but they're not achieving things. And at the end of the day, when we sit back with some reflection, we realize that we're just still living the same life. You know, awareness is a great thing, you know, because I've seen people that have claimed that they've had, say, 30 years, 10 years of experience, suddenly redefining themselves as 1 year experience repeated 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Because most people are seriously just spinning in place, chasing their tails. And how come? How come? They don't let a big sense of purpose motivate them. They don't even have an idea, in most cases, potentially what that purpose is or what that purpose could be. We just spin our wheels and not understanding the why. Now, believe it or not, most people, all people, will have a purpose. You have to be willing to invest in it. You've got to be willing to look into it. But most people have been put on this earth for a reason. Now, and we just get caught up with living life, don't we? We just get caught up with living life. Eating and looking for satisfaction and gratification out of food, out of drink, out of drugs, out of material goods. It's not about having the latest gadget. It's not about having the new car. It's not about having a new house or the best looking partner on your arm. In so many cases, they're just material things. They're not satisfying our inner purpose, our inner reason for being. They're just there. And we look for our happiness and we look for our gratification in those things as opposed to looking deeper within ourselves. Now, Maslow has his hierarchy of needs, and Abraham Maslow, look him up if you're not aware of it. And while the basic considerations of life like food, shelter, clean water, are still a concern for segments of the population, for the vast majority of the population in Western countries, our daily fight for survival comes down to catching the bus on time, catching the train on time, force-feeding breakfast if we're lucky on the run, or getting caught in traffic or flying under the radar at work. That's our daily fight for survival. Once upon a time, it used to be a true fight for survival. It used to be a true fight for survival. And we get caught up with all these other things that drain our energy and take us away from what it is that we're truly here to do. When our daily fight for survival comes down to getting up when our alarm says to get up, we know we're living in a pretty privileged space. And even more reason why we should be looking for that inner significance that we all have, instead of just slipping and drifting our way through this wonderful thing called life. What makes a difference? What makes a difference? Having a purpose can seriously make a difference. And having a purpose is like the big stuff. It's huge. And think of it in a couple of simple questions. Will the world be a better place for you being here? So think about that. Will the world be a better place for you being here? What will be your legacy when you're gone? What will be your legacy? Or will people be happy or unaware that you've gone? What would you like others to speak of you when you are gone? Now, I know that sounds a bit macabre, but let's face it, we're all going to die. We're all on a limited time span. We're all on a best before plan, aren't we? There's a certain date, and let's call it the drop dead date, that we're all going to suffer. We are all going to come towards our best before date. And there are certain things in our life that we can't do once we hit certain ages or have certain aging factors come upon us. I've mentioned so many times, I can no longer aspire to be an NRL player. Those days have gone. We all have a best before day. We all have a drop dead date. And once we realize that, it helps us generate what it is that we're actually here for. Because one of the biggest problems we face is that as individuals, we all think we've got plenty of time. And in some ways we do. We get 24 hours each and every day to make a difference to the world. But we always think that we've got tomorrow. We always believe that we've got tomorrow. But there will come a time when we actually won't. So our questions that we ask ourselves to find our purpose is all about the legacy. And it's those questions that speak to purpose. Now, I'm not just talking about my purpose is to leave the world better by having great kids. I've got great kids. It's more than that. It's more than that. It's more than simply having an impact on your family or your close relations. Now, that's almost a given, that you want to have a positive impact, raise great children, and have a positive impact and motivate those that are close to you. That's almost a given. But I'm talking about something bigger. And unfortunately, a lot of people lose sight of this, and that's why they don't have the proper levels or the required sustained levels of motivation that they need to achieve these big things in life. They're unable to get into that state of flow because they're not properly motivated. The worst part of all of this is that they only truly have themselves to blame. They only truly have themselves to blame. So do yourself a big favour. Pay close attention to what your sense of purpose is. Where is it that your emotions flow when you hear about injustice, when you hear about community, when you hear about business, when you have an idea? Understand where your emotion flows, and you can start discovering what your sense of purpose can and may be. But understand that you have one. Understand what you love doing. Understand, reconnect, and allow your sense of purpose to push you through where you need to go. Now, some of you may be listening and sort of think, oh, okay, Tony, you're talking about purpose. You've had other ideas on purpose. And it's sometimes about holding contrasting views and trying to understand how they all fit in. Because as I've said before, I don't want you beating yourself up about defining your purpose. I believe we all have a purpose. We all have a purpose. But you're not going to discover your purpose in a 2-day workshop held by some guru who's going to help you discover your why. It doesn't happen like that. Your purpose will come. Focus in on your growth, focus in on your progress and your progression in life. Focus in where your emotions go. And your purpose will one day become evident. It may be rekindling a sense of righting wrongs, doing community work. It could be playing music. It could be rekindling love in the relationship that you've settled for. It could be about writing. It could be about being a mentor to people within your organization. You know, I meet so many people that have been in that organization or in organizations for 30, 40, 50 years, who are now, only now, 2 or 3 years potentially away from retirement, that are thinking about, oh, maybe I need to pass my skills on. Man, we've got a best before date. 2 years before you retire is not the best time for you to suddenly realize that you could have been a better mentor. Invest, focus in on how you progress as a person. What it means for you to progress. Who are you going to become? And your purpose will surely follow. Because often when we free ourselves up from finding our purpose, that's when we discover it. It's like everything. When we're sitting in a problem, it's hard to see a solution. When we're surrounded by crap, it's hard to see the gold. And it's like that with our purpose. Often when we free ourselves up from finding our purpose, that's when we discover it. So keep in mind that the longer you feel you're just spinning your wheels, the more that you'll sap your energy and your resolve. Sure, you might have a lot of passion and energy, and you may be able to rekindle something on a day-to-day basis, but unless you've got that sense around your mission, around your purpose, around why you are chasing what it is that you're chasing, that's what's required to get solid and sustained motivation. because otherwise doubts will surely come, and a sense of helplessness about your routine starts to creep in. Your daily levels of passion and energy will surely start a downward decline, which you may not even notice initially, but over a week, over a 2 week, over a couple of months, you'll start to see some of those symptoms of spinning your wheels, maintaining your status quo. So find that greater sense of who you are and who you want to become and who you want to help and who you want to mentor and what you want to be remembered for, because that's where your proper motivation will come. Now, so if you want to understand a little bit more about the psychology of motivation, we've got the Psychology of Motivation course within the Coach Curl Academy, and it's available at silver membership level and gold. So it only costs you $1 for the first 30 days. So I would very much strongly encourage you to check out the Coach Curl Academy. Just Google search it. I'm sure it will come up, and check it out. What's it going to cost you? $1 for the first month. So if you are seriously looking for some motivation, go check it out. Hey, look, it's Coach Curl. Thanks for listening today. As always, a big shout out to our sponsors, Think and Grow Business. If it wasn't for the Think and Grow Business team, this podcast just wouldn't exist. They support it in every way possible. So thank you very much. So if you're looking to improve the performance in business, check out thinkandgrowbusiness.com. And they'll have a program or a coaching sessions to help you achieve that. Don't forget the Coach Curl Academy is now online. We've got over 70 programs to help you strengthen leadership, mindset, and business. And it's all available at thecoachcurlacademy.com. Don't forget, I have written a book. It's called Seriously Simple Stuff to Get You Unstuck. It's available at Amazon and where all good books are sold. And if you want a signed copy from me, just go to tonycurl.com.au and purchase a signed copy, and I'll make sure that gets to you quick, smart. 20% of every book sold goes to support the wonderful work being done by Carter's Cause. Carter's Cause at carterscause.org.au, where they're helping the kids and the families of kids born with congenital heart disease. A new sponsor is Totally Builderall, a totally integrated digital marketing platform to help you in your business. Go check it out at totallybuilderall.com. They've got landing pages, websites, sales funnels, chatbots, you name it. Now, CRM, a mailing list, they've got it. So totallybuilderall.com. They've even got the old, I shouldn't say the old. They've even got a brand new e-commerce solution. You know, there's a couple of big players in the e-commerce space, and seriously, the e-commerce solution that you have within the Totally Builderall platform matches and exceeds what some of those big players are charging you for more than. So go check it out. Sign up for your 7-day free day trial at totallybuilderall.com. And as per normal, where you are now, you are standing stronger, braver, and wiser. And whatever you do, just don't forget the golden rule. Just don't be an arsehole. I'll see you next week.